Elf Village Battle 5 from Theodamus. That's the teacher. Yeah. I was alone in the front line. Shunkun and Katya-chan are the rear forces. Shunkun is too kind. If I say it badly, he's too naive. Surely, even if he can defeat a monster, he can't kill a human. That's why I have to be in the rear. I have him to be in the rear unit. The persuasion was entrusted to Hiran-san. He also understood Shun's naivety and accepted my plan. I'm thankful to Shunkun. I might not be able to return to the Elf Village by passing through the Elro Great Labyrinth with my power alone, but from here on, it's the teacher's work. I can't borrow the power of Shunkun and the others. The barrier was broken. To be honest, I was half in doubt, but the barrier was really broken. But the shock that the other elves received was more than me. The defensive wall that should be called absolute, that has never been destroyed since they were born, was broken. Coupled with the threat of the monster that's outside the barrier, the shock that they lost the heart's support is immeasurable. Although I assumed such a situation, they must have thought that the barrier will never be broken. Everyone, please calm down, I tell the panicking elves. The barrier was broken. However, the device that generated the barrier was not broken. We should hold out until the barrier restores again. I am the daughter of the patriarch. In addition, I am a reincarnated person and my ability is high, and I have a strong right to speak among the elves. If I'm seen from the elves who live for a long time, I am a young girl even if I add the age of my previous life. But no matter what they think, they will follow my words. Now also they hear my words, and they seem to regain calmness little by little. In addition, here is in the forest. It's like the garden of we, elves. The human army can't defeat us. Let's teach them that it's stupid to challenge the elves in the forest. I tell strong words to inflame the fighting spirit a little. In truth, the situation is not so kind. Although there's the advantage of the terrain called the forest, as for the total number, the other side is overwhelming. On top of that, the opponent is the Rengzant Empire's powerful army that's experienced in combat and that continued to fight against the demons for many years. It was obvious that it would be a severe fight. Although the prudent elves can understand it, the thing called the atmosphere of the place is not important. Is important. Is important. The elves nod powerfully and silently and start the march. We who advance quietly in the forest are like the assassin rather than the warrior. It might not be necessarily wrong. We jump from tree to tree, and finally we found the army advancing in the forest. Thanks to the terrain called the forest that doesn't suit for a march, the formation is disordered. The front is held up, it becomes dense, and it's prolonged when they try to move to the side to resolve it. I declare the start of attack by telepathy. Magics and arrows rushed into the army that has trouble with the march. They are trampled down without being able to do anything by the attacks from the overhead. It's probably the unit that originally didn't assume combat in such a forest. Although the knights who held the shield in the front row defended it somehow, the long-distance unit in the back row and the charge unit in the middle row fall down without being able to do anything against our attacks. It's not good to have crowded to the extent that it's impossible to move freely. Even if they are in the position where they can move, the natural obstacle called the forest doesn't permit freedom. If this is a plane, the result will probably be totally different. Is that how you spell plane like that? I guess maybe. The attacks here are defended by the shield unit in the front row, warn us out with the attack of the long-distance unit in the back row, and as a finishing blow, the charge unit in the middle row approaches and cuts us down. But that's only when it's the plane. The forest is the field of we, elves. The terrain that can't move properly, and the attack from the overhead that they are not used to it. The counterattack doesn't reach us, who make the trees as the shield. Although there were soldiers trying to climb up the tree, they are shot down before they finish climbing it. Even if they finish climbing it, as all of the elves soldiers have the 3D maneuver, although there are not many elves who have the space maneuver, that alone is enough to move from this forest freely. On the unstable tree's footing, there's no way that the elves can be defeated by the humans. However, the opponent is the experienced, powerful army. They won't keep on being attacked forever. They give up in maintaining their formation, and the shield unit and the long-distance unit reform in the two-man cell. They return fire while hiding behind the shield. The other soldiers who don't receive the shield's defense head to the tree while dodging our attacks. The number that was shot down is many, but we were pushed by the violence of the number. The place where we were forced to do combat on the tree increased. I observed such a progressive battle and order retreat without overdoing it at a disadvantaged place. Although my personal purpose is to take my former student's head, the purpose of the whole elves is stalling until the barrier restores. If I think about the opponent's number and the advantage in terrain, I think that it's best to wear out the opponent while retreating slowly. However, in the communication from the detached force, there's a report that they are being overwhelmed by a non-standard magician. There's also the unit that the communication was cut off before I know it. My unit is doing well. As a whole, it can be said that we are overwhelming them, but a part seem to be overwhelmed. However, as expected, I have my hands full about my own unit. I will entrust that to Potamus, who's in the base. Despite being my father, that man's true character can't be known. Surely he has prepared one or two hidden ball play. Like that, I continued commanding, and I finally found the figure, Hugo von Rengzand. My student who has the name called Natsume Kengo before, the former student who has strayed from the right path. No, the former student who I have let him to stray from the right path. I can't say anything about Shunkun. I'm not resolved yet at the last moment. Surely, if I kill him, I will definitely be disqualified as a teacher. Although I might be disqualified as a teacher now, it's certain that I will exceed the last line. But I must do it. That's the last thing that Sensei can do to Natsume-kun as a teacher. It might be my ego. I don't say to forgive me, but still, I will kill you. Oh shit! This is pretty good. You know, usually the side chapters are like there. You know, they're world building, and I read them, but I always prefer the Kumo chapters. But this is pretty interesting. This is pretty interesting.